Lots of you said that you like the weekly areas of focus, weekly spread that I talked about in an earlier video, and you asked me to show you how I built it. So that's what I'm going to do today. Today is a tutorial on how to build the weekly area of focus spread for your digital notebook. Okay? All right, well, stay with me. Well, hi everyone, this is Crystal from A Crystal Clear Life, where we focus on planning, organizing, and living a more simplified life. And today I would like to take you on a little journey to show you how I built the template page for the weekly areas of focus. Now, if you're not familiar with areas of focus, that is kind of a GTD term. GTD is David Allen's Getting Things Done term for all of the different hats that you wear in your life, all of the different areas that you as an individual need to focus on in order to get through and be productive in life. Okay? For everyone, the areas of focus are different based on what you are, who you are, what your job is, what kind of family you have, and all of those kinds of things. Okay? So when we look at the computer screen today, you're going to see the areas of focus that are important to me, and I want you to just think about what areas of focus would be important for you. Okay? All right. If you are curious about the GTD method, the Getting Things Done method by David Allen, and you'd like to learn more about that, I have a whole playlist where I break down the GTD method from everything from, capturing new information all the way through the areas of focus and all of that kind of thing. I will leave that linked up above and down below in the description box if you'd like to check that out. It really is a good system, I think, and I have been using it for years and have been very happy and very productive doing that. Okay, well, if any of that sounds interesting to you, please go ahead and give this video a like, hit that thumbs up button down below, subscribe if you have not already. Please feel free to share this with anyone that you think would like learning this kind of information. And I want to say a great big thank you and a great big welcome to all of our new subscribers out there. We have quite a few since 2026 began, and I just think that's great. And welcome to the community. I hope you learn a lot. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'd be happy to answer them for you. Okay? All right. With that out of the way, let's get started. Let's jump into the computer and take a look at that areas of focus weekly layout that we're going to be building together. Okay? All right. Well, here we are on my computer screen. You see here I have my Crystal's Life Planner up here. And one of the sections in my Life Planner is my basic month. That is the most important pages that I use for every single month. And one of the new layouts that I built for this year is this weekly area of focus. I talked a lot about how it's used in a previous video. I'll link that up above and down below if you want to check that out. Today, I really want to focus on how to build it, okay? All right, so this is what our final product kind of looks like, okay? And I'm going to go over here on the side and work and let you guys see exactly how I'm building this, okay? All right. So you'll notice when you look at this screen, you can see that there is one container and all of my individual tables are sitting in that one container. Okay. Normally when I do something like that, I have nested those into a bigger table. Well, that's not how I did this one. Why? I don't know, just because I didn't build it that way. So I want to show you how I built this one. So I'm going to go over here on the side and give myself some working space. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to my insert menu and I'm going to choose table. Okay. When I choose table, it's going to come up and let me choose 7 wide, and I can go as many columns as I want. But to get us started, I think I'm only going to do maybe 4 columns, okay? And there's my little box. Okay, so let me move over a little bit so you can actually see what I'm doing, but I want you to be able to reference this one as well, okay? I actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 columns going up and down in my table. So what I want to do is I want to come over here, and since I only have 7, I need to add 2 more columns. So I'm going to highlight 2 columns. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go down to table, and it's going to say add columns. I can do them to the left or to the right. Because I am just getting started, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to say to the right. And now I have all 9 of my columns there. Okay? All right. If you take a look over here at the original one that we were working on, I mentioned in the video where I talked about this that I like to have an area of focus for myself. You know, what is that big project or those couple of big projects that need to get done, okay? So in this first box here, let me zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. In this first box here, I am going to write top focus, okay? And you will see that my container is getting bigger as I am typing. Now I can actually go in here and adjust the size of this container with these 2 little arrows so that I can let it grow and grow and grow. Okay? All right. The next thing that I have, if you look over here, is I have all of my personal areas of focus. So I have personal growth, personal/growth. That means taking care of me, not only physically, you know, but also learning and, you know, that kind of thing. I have family relationships and health and fitness. Okay. So what I would do over here in my new one is I would just simply type personal/growth, relationships, and that includes my spouse, my family, my friends, and then health and habits. Okay? Now, and I would go ahead and do all 8 of my areas of focus. You might be somebody who has more than 8 areas of focus. You might be a student who is taking 5 different classes, and so you have those 5 classes that you want to focus on, plus you have your own personal and your relationships and, you know, that kind of thing. So you may have more areas of focus than I do. So you make sure that you create this especially for you. Okay. Now I want to show you a little bit about how I do this gradient here. Okay. So you see that I start with a dark color and then I get lighter as I go down. For me, this signifies that under personal growth, for example, the most important thing that I have to do for that particular week is usually in this darker blue at the top. And then as I go through the week, you know, or as I go down the priority list, these things become less and less, okay? And so I kind of like that gradient look, meaning, you know, the stronger the color, the more important the item is. So let me show you how I did that. And you can see that I did it for all of my areas of focus all the way across. And I tried to pick different colors to represent, okay? So let's say personal growth here. If I highlight or just even click my mouse in that area, I can go up to the table menu, which is right here, and I can look at table shading, okay? And when I go to table shading, it's going to give me this little drop down box. And what I did is I picked the very darkest color down here, okay, like that. And then as I go down and kind of do my gradient, what I did here is I went back to that color shading. And on these standard colors that kind of come with, you know, the theme that I'm using, I just went up one. So from this very, very dark, I went to this lighter one. And then, you guessed it, I went to the even lighter one. And then finally, to a very light one. Now, if I wanted to, I could add another column here simply by hitting the enter key, and you see it would change it to that same light color. I can change that. I can go up to shading, and I can go to the very, very lightest one if I want to, okay? Now, on some of these that are not, let's just say health and habits for an example, um, if I went back to table shading and I decided that I had used up all of my theme colors already and I wanted to pick a new color, I could go down here to more colors. And when that comes up, I could look at either some of the standard colors that they have, like I could pick one from this diamond. I could pick, oh, I don't know, let's say one of these like hot pink colors like that, okay? And I could say, okay. And that would give me that really dark, bold color there at the top, okay? But now remember, we're looking for a gradient, right? So at this point, I would go back up to table shading, and since my colors are not listed here, I would then go back to more colors, and now I'm going to have to look at the custom section, okay? And in the custom section, you see there's this little bar here on the side that really adds more gray at the bottom and less gray at the top, okay? So I can slide my color up, and as I slide it up, you can see that the color changes ever so slightly right there, okay? Maybe that's enough change for me for the first one. And you'll see here that it now has added that slightly lighter color, okay? I can keep going. Click in the next box, go up to table shading, go to more colors. I'm still on the custom page. I can move my slide bar up just a little bit more, and you can see that it will get a little bit lighter. See right there? And I can say OK. And now that one's a little bit lighter. And let's do one more just so you get the full effect. So more colors. There's custom. I'm going to go way up here and let it be very light so that you can see the difference there, and to say OK. All right, so that's how you can do it with any color. It doesn't just have to be your theme colors. You can still get that gradient look by doing it that way. And I think that's pretty cool. Okay. All right, so that's how I did all of these. Most of these are theme colors. And then as I got down here to the end, I started running out of themed colors. So I picked some other a teal and a magenta kind of thing, and then, a garden sunshine yellow for outside. Okay, now one thing that people like is this weekly list of activities by life area of focus, okay? And they want to know how I got that outside of the table. So let me show you that. If I come back over here to the table that we're working on, and I go right here to the first cell, and I hit the Enter key, you see that whole top focus drops down, and my cursor is now floating outside of that particular table. So I can write, I don't remember what it said, but let's see, areas of focus for the week, or whatever you want it to say, okay? And now all I did to get it to look the way that you saw it on the other one is I went in here and I went up to my home menu, and in the highlighter, I made the highlight black. Highlight everything, go over here, change my font to white, and now I have that sharp black background with that white print on it, which I think is really cool. Now, this one happens to be left justified. If you want to center it, again, on your home menu, and what it does is it centers it in the whole area of the container, okay? So you can see if I make this container a little bit smaller, it's going to move that area of focus, and it's going to keep it right in the center. You can tell that it's in the center because it sits right underneath these four little dots, okay? Now, as I continue to build this out with, my other areas of focus, you will see that the container gets big enough and it's going to eventually look like this, okay? Now, I'm somebody that kind of likes that white font, and so if I want to do that over here, I can do that as well. I can certainly highlight all of this and change my font color to white. Now, when I do relationships, that kind of goes away, so let me quickly give that a color. I'll go up here to some color shading. Let's do green. I don't know. I'm just picking colors today. The ones that you see on the page that we've completed, those are my permanent colors. But for today, I'm just showing you different ways to do it. Okay. All right. So let's pretend that that is all filled out with all of our areas of focus. And then we're going to look at the next section. Okay. In the next section here, you see I have daily things to do, and then I have another table that is still 9 columns. It still has part of that GTD stuff happening over here, and then it has each day of the week, and these are my kind of routine daily things that I want to do. Okay, and again, for everybody that's looking at this, your daily things are going to be different. But this is really just a space for you to do that, okay? So let's go back to the one that I'm showing you how to build, and I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to hit the Enter key, and when I hit the Enter key, it's going to give me another row in that column. If I don't want that, I can simply now hit the Delete key, and that takes that row away and leaves my cursor now floating outside of that particular table up above. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do daily tasks, and it's already formatted for me, but I do want it centered. So I'm going to hit the Center key. I could left justify it if I want, right justify it. I like things kind of in the center, so I'm going to do that. And then after that, I'm going to hit the Enter key again, and you see now my cursor's in the middle. I now want to insert another 9 column table, okay? I can go through the whole process of going to insert and saying table, which is right here at the beginning, and choosing 7 and then adding 2 and all of that kind of thing. But a quicker way is, because I know that I already want it to be 9 columns, I can simply go up here to this bottom row, and I can highlight that, and I can Control C to copy that. And then I can come down here underneath my daily tasks, and I can Control V or paste, and I will now get the 9 columns already set up for me. Okay? All right, let me get rid of this color shading here. Let's go up to color shading, and I'll say no color for now. And let's go back and look at exactly what is in this daily things to do. Okay, so in my GTD part of this particular section, I have projects. Those are main things. GTD, David Allen says that a project is anything that takes more than 2 actions. You know, like you can't just do it in one thing. You got to have at least 2 things or more that need to be done. So that's really what a project is. For me, it happens to be usually something a little bit bigger, a little bit longer term. But I have a place here to write down the projects that I'm working on. And I also have a place here where I put people that I'm praying for. And then I have the days of the week. So let's go over, and I will quickly add those things. So I can type in the word projects. Okay. And then I just start with my days of the week. So Monday, Tuesday. And I am somebody that likes to start my week on a Monday and end on a Sunday, but you can do it however you want. That's one of the beauties of doing a planner yourself, is you can set it up. You could start on a Wednesday if you wanted to. It doesn't really matter, okay? And so these are my daily tasks. And then when I get here, if I hit the Tab key, it's going to add another cell. That's not what I want. I want to add another row. Okay, so I'm going to hit the Enter key, and my next row comes up. Okay, and I'm going to go across, and what I do here is I have created some daily routines for myself. Okay, and these are things that I want to accomplish on a specific day. Okay, let's say that Monday is grocery shopping. Okay, and maybe Monday is also trash day. Okay. Now, if you want to, you can add little check boxes so that you can get that little dopamine hit when you check it off. So you could go up here to grocery store and you could go to your home menu and there are all kinds of tags. Now, when I bring down the tags, you're going to see here, I have lots and lots of customized tags. Again, if you'd like to learn more about how to customize your tags, I have videos for that. I will link them up above. But for now, you can see that I have all of these tags. But if you're just starting, there is just a basic to-do tag that you could use. So that's what I'm going to use for this one. And trash day, I'm going to show you one of my customized tags. That is an errand. So I have one here for an errand. I have to take my trash to the recycling and to the trash dump. And so that's actually an errand for me, okay? And when I hover over it, you can see the word errand with the green box. And for the grocery shopping, you can see to do. Now, technically for me, grocery shopping is also an errand. I have to go out and do that. But I know for some of you, it might just be putting in an order and that kind of thing. Again, you can use these tags for whatever you would like to use them for. Okay. All right. Now, as I'm looking at this, I'm seeing that some of my columns are a little squished here. And I just wanted to remind you that you can adjust the size of your columns. You can adjust the size of your container. You can do all of that to get this exactly the way that you want it. Okay. So everything lines up and looks good. All right. Now, after, daily things to do, let's go add another row here. I added a place for people that I could pray for or think about or, that kind of thing. And there were more tasks over here. I actually put the tasks in each cell. So let's go back and do that. So I'm going to pick up trash day, take the whole thing, and I'm going to cut it. And I'm going to move it down here and paste it. And then I can get rid of that tag and I can add it back to this one. So errand right there. Okay. All right. Now, what I did here for table shading is I just did everything kind of in a gray, all the way across. I did my GTD stuff, top focus, projects, prayers, and all of my, my routine days all in gray. Okay. So I just simply highlighted the entire column, go up here to table, shading, and I just picked a gray that I liked. Okay. Maybe you want a soft gray like that. You can do that. And then if you need an individual one done, you can just click anywhere in that cell. And once that color has been chosen, the little paint pot that's up there keeps that color underneath. So if I want to use that color again, I can just click it and it goes in that cell. Okay, so I'll do it again here for top focus. Click it, and now that one is gray as well. Okay. All right. Now, when I showed you about copying, that table down to the bottom, now I'm going to copy even more because now I have all the days of my week and all that kind of thing in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of this. So copy, and I'm going to go down here and click outside of the cell and say paste. And now I have another whole section that says daily tasks. Although, if you look over here, the bottom section now says appointments, classes, and meetings. These are usually things that are time specific, okay? So all I have to do is go in here and change this to appointments, classes, or meetings. Okay, like that. So maybe you attend a class, maybe you have to take your child to a class, maybe you are teaching a class, maybe you have a meeting, maybe you have specific appointments. It doesn't matter. This is just a place for all of those planned things to go into. Okay, so we're going to go in here and we're going to delete grocery shopping and trash because we don't need those. And we're going to change these titles over here because I don't need projects again and I don't need prayers again. but there are other columns or other things that I want to put in there, okay? So let's go look at that. Back in David Allen's day in the 80s when he was, creating this whole thing, people had their, landline phones that sat on their desk, and they had snail mail or memos that came to them. Some of you may not remember office memos. I certainly typed and delivered quite a few of those. And then email became a thing, right? And everybody was overwhelmed with all of the email because you could very quickly send a message. So David Allen would talk about all of these different forms of communication. In today's world, 20 years later, 30 years later, we not only have that, but now we have, text messaging and Instagram messaging and Facebook messaging and Slack messaging and, on and on and on, Teams communications and all that kind of stuff. So I lumped all of those together into communications, and that still includes that old-fashioned telephone and the snail mail if you want to mail a card or mail a bill or something like that. Okay, so I have communications, I have waiting on, and I have errands and things to buy. Those are my categories that I'm going to put over here. Okay, so the first one is going to say communications. Communications, and again, I can make that bigger if I want to. And then the next one is waiting on. All right, and then we'll tab, give us a few here. All right, and then errands / to buy. Okay. All right, now we don't want these to be gray, so we're going to go up here to table shading and say no color, and that takes care of that. Okay. And when you look over here at my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I didn't color those either. I could either leave them gray or I could take the color away. Since I'm trying to make it look like the one that we did, I'm going to take the color away. And so there goes the color, okay? And these spaces are supposed to be big enough so that you can, put the day of the week after it. So let's say it's the perfect month, and the month starts on a Monday, and the first Monday is the 1st. Okay, so then you could do that, and then Tuesday's the 2nd, and Wednesday would be the 3rd, and Thursday the 4th, so on and so on. You guys get the idea. I'm just trying to format it so that you guys can see kind of what I'm talking about. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to make this a little bit wider so I can show you how I adjust all of my columns. Okay. Up at the top, I wasn't worried about it too much. I figured, once I get down to the bottom, I can work it out, okay? So down here, I want to make sure that I leave enough space for all of my days of the week, like that, okay? And I also want to center all of this. I like it when the titles are centered, so I'm going to highlight everything and tell it to center it. Okay, and I'm seeing that some of these are squished and some of these are bigger. So today I'm just going to eyeball it. Sometimes I put graph paper behind it. Let me show you. I'll go up to view and I'll go down to rule lines, and I'll add like a grid paper behind it. Can you see that very light blue grid paper back there? And when I have that set up, I can go in here and say, I want this to be exactly lined up on that grid line. And then this one will be lined up on that grid line. And everyone now is, 3 grid lines. Because OneNote does not have like a ruler feature, which is no big deal, but 1, 2, 3. I can do it this way, and it works just as well for me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then our last one here. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now they're all kind of about the same. And if I don't want those ruled lines back there, I can say none, and that gets rid of them and cleans everything up. But now my, columns are pretty much spaced evenly. If I were doing this in a spreadsheet, it would, let me align my columns automatically to be all the same, but OneNote doesn't do all that, and I'm not worried about all that, okay? Now what I can do, now that I have the bottom set up the way that I want with Monday through Sunday, and then this last one is not going to say dinner plans. It says upcoming because I like to know what's happening in the future, okay? I can then go in and I can start on this one up above. I can make that just kind of eyeballing it and lining it up with what I have there. Okay, now the great thing is because all of this is all in one container, that means it's going to stay kind of all in one container. And if I go up here and I have to add another task, let's say I create another routine that I have to do every single day of the week, or on a particular day of the week, and I need to add another item here, right, like that. See how everything moves down? Let me show you again. So watch appointments. When I get to the end here, it just moves it down and puts those spaces in there. It does not go over top of that. So I think that's great. That's kind of why I like to stack these different tables like this. Okay. All right. And so then I would do the same thing up here. I'm just grabbing the in between the columns, and you see that the arrow turns to the the arrow that kind of goes both ways, and I can adjust them very quickly like so. And there we go. And you see it now that I'm kind of up to the edge of my container. And so if I want to move this whole container, I click on the gray bar at the top and it highlights the entire container. I can then cut it and I can move it somewhere else. Let's say I want to take it, to a different page, or I want to take it down here to the bottom of the page, wherever I'd like to put it, I can put it in there, paste it, and then the whole thing is still there. Okay? I think that's fantastic. All right, so you can see if you compare one to the other, the one that I have up at the top that I am using for the beginning of this year, the columns are much wider than I have down here, and that's okay. You're in OneNote, you're really not limited by page size. If you're new to OneNote, look how big these page sizes can be. I mean, I can go to infinity if I want. Look how small that still is, that whole big screen, but I could add all kinds of other things on this page if I wanted to. Okay, so don't feel like, oh, I'm using 8.5 by 11 paper and I've run out of space, because that's not the case. Okay, all right, let me get back here so you can see it. All right, so here we are back at the weekly that we did. I really like this weekly page. It really helps me, keep things organized. And I hope now that I have shown you how to do it, that you can create it for yourself and modify it and make it specific to what you need, and that everything will work out great for you. If I have left something out and you have a question for me, please go ahead and leave it in the comment below. I'd be happy to answer that question for you. And I want to say again, thanks for joining me. I'm so excited to have so many new people here. I got the nicest comment the other day, and if this comment was from you, I want to thank you. You said to me that it seems that I have nothing to sell except information, which just opened my heart and filled it with joy. I was just so happy to hear that. So you guys are so kind in the comments, and I really do appreciate that. And I hope that you like this one. And if you want to stay tuned for other things, hit that subscribe button, turn those notification bells on. And until next time, here's hoping that you can live a more simplified and organized life through better planning. I use OneNote. Until next time, okay, bye. Say hi to my new friend, Audie. Hi, Audie. I'm just a kid at heart.